Thank you. This is exciting to be able to be here. Actually, thank you for that wonderful introduction. For a while there, I thought you were going to make me cry. I was glad you stopped. It's like, yeah, don't do that. I have something very special. I want to thank the Cranbourne Club as well. I have brought you a banner. This is my President's banner. On the front, of course, it has the year for the President's banner. And on the back, it says, to energize the dream, that every child is happy, healthy, safe, and loved. And it has our granddaughter's handprint on it. And that's very important to remind us that that's a real handprint for real children with real needs that need our help. Our world needs kids that are happy, healthy, safe, and loved, and kids need Kiwanis. So it is my pleasure to present this to you. Thank you for hosting this event tonight, and what a delight already. Thank you so much. This is great. Thank you. I want to thank Tony also for the invitation to be here. This is a long way from home. It's been a long time since we've been to Australia with our friends here. The first time we were here, our grandson was born while we were on the plane. And I know that because we got off the plane and Betty said, "Oh, it's so good to see you, Grandma and Grandpa." It's like, oh, he's here. So he will be 18 next week, by the way. So thank you for inviting us. Thank you for hosting us. Thank you for not killing us while you were driving. You ever driven with Tony Gunn?
You haven't home yet.
That is true. We're not home yet. That's true. Okay. It's been fabulous as we've been traveling. Gus, of course, is our first gentleman of Kiwanis International.
Yay!
Down.
Yeah, wasn't that exciting? I am the 100th president, by the way, and I'm the second female. However, I am the only female to be married. So, Gus is the first gentleman. He's also the first spouse ever in 102 years to be a past governor. So, woo! My Gus is an anomaly. Anyway, as we are traveling all over, we have a chance to really meet a lot of incredible people and do a lot of incredible things. We were in Minnesota, Dakota, and at their banquets, you are asked to wear all of your medals. So we appreciate the fact that some of you have yours on this evening. They asked if I would wear some very special ones, and so as I was walking down the hall with 7 ribbons and medallions on, it was like, ching, 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 ching. We got into the elevator, and there was a gentleman in there that perhaps had been in the bar a little bit too long. And he was weaving back and forth, and he's trying to concentrate on my medals. And he finally stared, and he stopped, and he said, "Wow, where have you been? To the county fair?" And I was ready to say something, and then, you know, an elevator is usually kind of like a mirror, so you can see it, and so I could see my husband's face giving me the "do not engage the drunk man in conversation" look. It's like, fine. Well, that man was not to stop, and he was not to be stopped, and so he came a little closer, and he said, "What'd you win?" To which I replied, "Best in show." Elevator doors opened. We walked out, and of course Mr. Erickson has my arm, and he said, "Best in show." You had to, didn't you? Yep. So that's what we're doing tonight. We are celebrating Best in Show. 50 years of Best in Show in Australia, Kiwanis. And I think that's important that we take that and we celebrate that tonight. That deserves a big round of applause. We look at Australia, Kiwanis, think of all the handprints that you've left in all these years. You think about energizing the dream, that's a lot of handprints, isn't it? Well, I can tell you we brought you a handprint to remind you. Each one of you have that little pin sitting in front of you. That's our pin for this year, so you can wear Kiwanis forever. And that little handprint will remind you to leave your handprint. Everything you think, everything you say, and everything you do, by the way, is selling Kiwanis. Did you know that? Now you're really thinking about it, right? That's a lot of handprints in 50 years. That's a lot of positive service to kids. That's a lot of positive leaders. And let me tell you, that's a lot of past governors in your district. Gus Erickson, when you were looking at that list, did you happen to take my past governor list up? Yeah, cool. Thank you. We'll put it back up here. Because that's a lot of handprints, thank you. And that's a lot of past governors. I think it's important that we celebrate the handprints of our leaders. So I know tonight we have some very famous past governors, right? Brian Williams, where are you? Very nice. Jeff Hurt, where are you? In the back, you're hiding. Louis D'Amour and Betty. Louis and Gus were governors together. Oh my goodness. Graham Mold and Margaret, where are you? In the back as well. Jim Chantry and Carol. Very good. Bill Craig and Heather, my peer governor. Did it go well, Bill? Norm McLennan and Karen. Very good. Peter Zander, right up here in front. And soon to be, not for a couple weeks yet, Tony Gunn and Pauline. Now, in terms of leaving our past governor handprints, we also have a past governor, Ian Perdrio, and Trish. Ian served as our Kiwanis International President in 1994-95 and was very instrumental in a lot of our iodine deficiency disorder program. So thank you to each one of you for leaving your positive handprints, and I think you all deserve a round of applause. They are the best in show. And when we start talking about our leaders, it's important that we celebrate the fact that we each have this opportunity to get up every morning and be a Kiwanian. How many of you are happy every morning to get up and be a Kiwanian? Yeah. How many of you are happy to get up every morning? You know what, sometimes we don't think about that. But I taught cardiac patients for 6.5 years. And I would say that every morning when you wake up, you look in that mirror, and if you see a reflection, that is a good day. And you can say, check it out, I'm back. Somehow overnight I pushed the right buttons and I'm back. Now that's an important thing to remember. Tomorrow morning you look in the mirror and you say that, woohoo, I'm back. I do that every morning. Ask Gus Erickson how thrilled he is with that. We've been married 20 years. And now he goes, He used to complain, now he just goes, Well, I know he's still alive. There are 3 things that we've learned over the years as we've traveled. 3 things that have been very important, not only to Kiwanis, but to our lives. And the first is to be passionate. And those of you who are in Paris with us know these 3 things that I believe in very firmly. The first one is to be passionate. And it's important to be passionate about being alive. Yeah, we're very fortunate to be alive. We have 4 of our past governors who are not with us this evening, but we also want to celebrate. They lived passionate lives as well. We need to be able to appreciate the fact that we are here and we can live these important Kiwanis lives. Years ago when I taught cardiac patients, I taught stress management, by the way, to cardiac patients. Some of you are finding that a little hard to believe, but I did. I can relax as well as I can be excited. And I had to go through a lot of training to teach these cardiac patients. And I had one gentleman, he wasn't buying a thing I said. I knew because he'd cross his arms every time he came in. He sat down, he put a scowl on his face, tipped one shoulder to me, narrow his eyes, and then he'd go, I thought, oh, wonderful. Well, they would come once a week for 6 weeks, and then they would graduate. And at the end of 3 months, we would invite all these patients to come back in, and I would give them what we would call a refresher class, and we'd have a really good time. We always had a good time in our cardiac rehab classes. We laughed because laughter is good for the soul, right? Well, this man came back after 3 months. And I thought, interesting, he hated every single minute he was in my class, and now he's coming back for another one, and this one he doesn't even have to pay for. Crazy. Okay, so he came back, and he's sitting in the back. By the time we were finished, I thought, well, I can't believe he lasted the whole time. When I said goodbye, I expected people to get up and walk away, and I heard his voice. Young woman? I thought, oh, that's cool. I'll go with that. And the classes parted, and here was straight on to him. He said, I have a question for you. What are you on? I said, I beg your pardon? He said, what are you on? By now, everyone's coming back into the room. He said, you're high on something. I thought, oh, we can't let that go. And I said, meaning? He said, you're on something, aren't you? You're high on something. And I said, oh my, yes. By now he's coming closer, he's right up next to me. He said, you're high on something. What? I thought, well, I can't let everyone think I am pharmaceutically induced here. Do work for a hospital, but no, this is real. I said, I am high on something. He said, what? I said, life. And half of the cardiac patients laughed. He didn't think it was funny. He said, life, period. I said, oh no. Life, exclamation point. Everybody laughed and then went, right? He looked at me. He scowled. Then I could see just the corner of his eye start to go a little bit. And then he started to grin, and then he quickly turned around and started to walk away. I just stood there and watched. He took about 5 steps. He turned around and looked at me. He goes, that was a good one. And then he laughed and he walked away. And I thought, well, okay. And as soon as he took about another 5 steps, everyone else was going, woo, life, exclamation point. And I thought, well, you know what? Why not live your life with an exclamation point? How many of you do? How many of you will starting tomorrow morning?
Yeah.
There you go. Think about it. We need to live Kiwanis with that same exclamation point. Every day we get up, we have an opportunity to make lives better in our communities. Every day we get up, we have an opportunity to make our kids' lives better. Wow, not a lot of people get that opportunity. We're very blessed. We should take advantage of that. Do you know that every Kiwanian has an opportunity to help 204 children? We go through the monthly records and we find that out. Our average is 204 children per year. Every Kiwanian has an opportunity to help that many. That means a club of 20 can help over 4,000 children. A district of 1,000 can help over 204 children. 204,000 children. Take that back. I had our 10-year-old child with our little Maya Jane with us one day. And we were talking about this, and one of the Kiwanians said, why do we need anybody? Why do we need anybody else? Actually, at the time, she was 8. She looked up and she said, why do we need any more Kiwanians? Because how do you know that little kid that's going to grow up and cure cancer might not be one of the 204 kids that your new member is actually going to help? It was great. We all went, that came out of a child? And I thought, wow. 204 children. Did you think you had that opportunity every day to be that positive? We get to help kids. Kids need Kiwanis. That's the important part about being passionate. Are you embarrassed about being passionate? No. That's what keeps you alive. Tomorrow morning you look in that mirror. Woo-hoo! I'm back. Look how excited Gus Erickson is. Woo! I love it. Be passionate. We want to be grateful. Years ago, now this is my 20th year actually of working with K-Kids. K-Kids are our elementary students, and I have 9 through 12-year-olds. This is my 20th year of working with them. I now have K-Kids who come back, and one of them is a teacher in the same school in which I'm helping. I've been there a long time. One of the K-Kids said she liked to help people because it gives her a warm feeling inside. Do you know what that warm feeling feels like? Sure you do. It's what brings you back. It's what brings you back to Kiwanis. That warm feeling is fabulous. That's called gratitude. Be passionate. Be grateful. In February, I had this wonderful opportunity to travel with a group of UNICEF volunteers to Tanzania. My job? To see what it was like to be in a country that was already validated for maternal neonatal tetanus. That country was fantastic. So we went into this little country, we went into this little village, we traveled on roads that were not roads. We traveled for hours in these huge vehicles. We were so beat up by the time we got there, we were glad to finally roll out of the vehicles. And then we had to walk several miles to either the clinic or to the school. And we got to one little clinic, and there the little ones were being weighed. So they were in these little makeshift little like shorts with a handle on them. And they took this little wooden frame and had a little spring on it with an eye hook and a scale on it and another little eye hook. And they just took that little thing with a handle on it and hung that baby on that little S hook. Baby wasn't very thrilled to be on there, but that's how they were weighing the babies, right? Then they would take the babe in, and he or she would have his or her vaccinations. And I got to go in with this baby having vaccinations, this little boy. I thought, oh my goodness, that child is screaming louder than I have ever heard. And I thought, yep, babies in Tanzania scream just as loudly as babies in Bellevue, Nebraska, where we're from, when they have any kind of shot or vaccination, right? Moms, you remember taking your babies at some point to have those vaccinations? Yeah, they didn't like them then, they don't like them now either. But you know what? The moms are just as gracious and just as loving. Oh, mom just shook. Baby's tears were huge, and mom just shook. And I wrapped my arm around mom and spoke soothingly, even though I don't speak Swahili. And it was okay, because we speak the language of comfort and the language of love. And so mom settled down a little bit, and baby's big old tears, and he looked up at me. And when he was finished, they walked out, and I thought, oh my goodness, that's so wonderful. And the nurse took a hold of me and said, thank you. Thank you for your donations for the maternal and neonatal tetanus program. When you've donated, you bought these vaccines. These have kept our moms and babies alive. Thank you and your friends for saving our moms and babies. And I'm telling you, friends, I was in Tanzania, but my whole body just lit up with that gratitude. To be able to be there in Tanzania, to be a Kiwani and to know that I had donated. I wear my pin proudly for my donation to the Eliminate Project. I wear that because I know that somewhere in the world is a mom and baby that I saved with that donation. And I was so grateful to be part of that. Well, I left a little while later, and all of a sudden, mom, baby, and nurse are running behind me. And I stopped, and mom is grinning ear to ear now, and baby's grinning. Mom put her hand on my t-shirt, on my logo, on the Kiwanis logo on my shirt, and she kept saying, Zawadi. And then she would pat her baby on her back, and she'd say, Zawadi. And finally, this little nurse came running up, and she said, oh. She said, I just told mom that you and Kiwanis are responsible for the vaccines that saved her baby boy's life. She's saying Zawadi. I said, I don't know what that means. And she said, gift. She's patting baby and patting your logo and saying, thank you, Kiwanis, for the gift of her child. I thought, oh my goodness, again, that warm feeling that K-Kid had explained to me, I was exploding with that gratitude. And I thought, oh my goodness, it is so exciting to be here. I'm so grateful to be part of Kiwanis, and so grateful to be part of an organization that's generous enough to save moms and babies. And just then, little guy just forced his little hands out of that pack, and he reached up and put his hands on my head, on the side of my hair. And the nurse said, oh, that's a sign of endearment for a child to do that in Tanzania. I thought, oh. And she said, and baby has never seen yellow hair before. Yeah, look at Tony Gunn laughing. Yeah, baby still didn't see yellow hair. Yeah, I know. I was so grateful to be there at that point. But you know what? I'm looking at the numbers that have come from Australia. Almost $600,000 in cash and pledges to the Eliminate Project. My friends, if you have donated, and if you've donated this evening, wow, those are your babies in Tanzania. Those are your moms that you've saved. Those are your little ones that you put in school. That was the fantastic part about being there. is that we had such an incredible opportunity to see these moms and babies. They're there. They're alive. I've held them in my hands. You have made a difference in the lives of these children. So please give generously. And I think you need to give yourselves a round of applause for leaving handprints and saving moms and babies worldwide. Really, seriously, you've done some phenomenal work. So being passionate, being grateful. And the last one is to be family. When we're back here, this is like being in family, don't you think, us? Oh my goodness, there's so many people we already know here. How can this be that we're from Bellevue, Nebraska, right in the middle of the United States, and I'm looking around and I already know so many of you.
Rochelle.
And Rochelle, my goodness, how delightful to have a farmer key clubber, which is our high school branch of Kiwanis, a college circle pair. And as I'm looking at Rochelle tonight, I said, where are you from? And she said, I was in Key Club in Las Vegas, so in California, Nevada, Hawaii. I said, and where did you go to college? And she said, the University of Iowa, in the Nebraska-Iowa district, which is where we are from. She went to school 4 hours from us, and I said, Rochelle, I recognize you. Have you come to some college events in Nebraska, Iowa? She said, yes. And I said, I was your keynoter. See, the world is small because of Kiwanis, right? I'm so glad you're here. I have to take your picture so we can, I'm going to show it to Hal Kleinsmith. I just saw Hal 2 weeks ago, her old advisor, so this is fabulous. I have to tell you that I'm going to tell you a very quick story about being with a gentleman by the name of Jacek from Poland. And we were at an event where they were talking about membership and how the membership in Poland had dropped and the membership in Poland had grown, both. He said, we are 5 clubs, we are family. I said, family, family, family. And he said, yeah. He said, we are 10 clubs, family. 15 clubs, family. 25 clubs, no family. I said, no family? He said, no. I said, that's sad. And he said, yeah. Well, we started talking about family. We started to talk about clubs that become like family, divisions that become like family, districts that become family, right? Look at our family, how tight we are right now. Well, we've talked about it all week and some ideas that he could take back and use in Poland. And at the end of the week, we had a banquet, much like we're doing here. And he came over and he stood at our table and he said, Jacek, borrow Trustee Jane 15 minutes? Gus said, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So off we went and we discussed more things about how to create clubs that are like family. And we came back after 15 minutes and Gus said, well, did you get that handled? And Jacek stood up nice and tall and he said, oh yeah. Trustee Jane and Jacek, we make family. No. No. We made Kiwanis family. However, we know these Kiwanis families. We haven't seen each other in years and we're still Kiwanis family, right? This is fantastic. This is what Kiwanis is all about. We are passionate, we are grateful, and we are family. Together we need to grow the Australia district with more members, right? To help more kiddos. You do have kids in Australia that have needs. And as long as we have a need, there is a reason for us to exist. The gift that we leave to our children is Kiwanis. The world needs kids that are happy, healthy, safe, and loved. And kids need Kiwanis. Kiwanis needs each of us to stand up and stand tall for our kids. So we want to energize the dream that every child is happy, healthy, safe, and loved. We want to be passionate. We want to be grateful. We want to be family. And we'd love to have all of our guests in our family, so that together we can celebrate another 50 years of Australia Kiwanis and another 50 years of Best in Show. Thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for leaving your amazing handprints for our kids. God bless all your efforts. Thank you.